Paul Rosselli. I'm an environmental activist, and I'm also a teacher. I teach contractors on the hazards. I train contractors on the hazards of lead-based paint. One of the things that I've learned over the years is that there's science and then there's science. The science may tell you certain things, but then the science can be used in certain different ways. So I'd like to ask this question again, that was asked previously, but from a different point of view. So at what point did the science make sense to the state agencies in Flint, Michigan? And I'll leave the question there, but I want to put it in context. So also in South Providence, there's the possibility of construction of an LNG tank, a liquid natural gas facility, liquefied natural gas facility. There's also the possibility of a fracked gas power plant proposed for the northwest corner of Rhode Island. So all of these infrastructure developments are posed to be a slap in the face to the science, but yet they are being proposed and being pushed by many of the state agencies that also have access to that same science. So what I want to hear from you is, at what point do the state agencies in Flint look at the science and say, oh yeah, it's right, or you're right?
Yeah, so after we released our research and the state, which has a larger data set of children's blood lead levels because they do the surveillance of children's blood lead levels, it's not something that one provider can see. It's the difference between medicine and public health. So when we tried to get access to that surveillance data and they weren't willing to share, and then when we released our data, they said, no, this is not consistent with our science, with our data. And then finally, about a few weeks later, the head of the state, the chief medical doctor for the state, called me, also an MD MPH, and she's like, I just want to have a doctor-to-doctor conversation. She actually runs a preventative medicine fellowship. And she's like, can you tell me how you did your science? She's like, how did you look at your numbers? What did you do? And then we had a very academic back and forth. I shared with her a lot of research, articles from, for example, like Montreal about lead and water, and other, how we did it, and precedent for our research, and blah, blah, blah. So a very good academic back and forth. And she was the one that made the epidemiologist of the state go back and look at the surveillance data. And then that uncovered that, yes, actually, we also see the same thing. We see an elevation in children's lead level. However, a lot of those state officials are now under criminal charges because what has been uncovered is that they had already looked at the data. They'd already seen the elevations, but they had covered it up and closed their eyes to it. But it was this doctor's involvement that really kind of opened it up at the state level and said that there was an issue. But a lot of that is still coming to light. All of these efforts at accountability and investigations are still ongoing. I very much say that science spoke truth to power, and it was science, but it was also the media. Because after my press conferences, when we started really getting national attention, and Michigan became a national, international embarrassment. And I think that may have really convinced the state more than science.